Hey guys, it's your boy Steven here from Top Deck, coming at you with an Invoked deck profile. We are playing Invoked, Dogmatika, DPE, and Branded. We play the Fusion pile because it has the best ceiling, and I think it's one of the best variants of Invoked going around. So I'm going to show you with the lineups, and just quickly shout out to the Banlist because this has made the deck just better in all aspects. The Banlist has done nothing but made this deck better, so I'm very excited to show you guys an updated deck profile. Playing 3 copies of Alistair. We already know it's the best normal summon in the game. However, guys, it does have an effect that people forget, that it can increase your fusion monster's attack and defense by 1,000, whether that comes up for beating over your opponent's monsters or just going for game for the extra damage. We are playing 3 copies of Meltdown. Meltdown's just cracked because your opponent can't respond to the on-summon effect of your fusion monsters. So whether that's DPE to pop a card, whether it's Mirror Jade to banish a monster, whether it's a Goides to pop a monster, your opponent can't respond, which makes it insane. Playing the 2 copies of Invocation and the 1 copy of Terraforming just to round out the Invoked package. This is just 7 copies of Alistair. This is the best lineup. I wouldn't change any of the ratios, nothing more, nothing less. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Now we're playing the Dogmatika package. We're playing the 1 Ecclesia, the 1 Fleur-de-Lis, the 1 Maximus, Nadir Servant, which is at 2. What's that? Nadir Servant's at 3. Hold on, guys. Just got confirmation that Nadir Servant is at 3. Shout out to the Banlist. I don't know if you guys have seen our previous video, but we actually predicted Nadir coming at 3. It is insane. I feel as though at 3, you definitely see it more often. And it's just one of those power spells that, A, it facilitates Winder. It gets you so much more advantage. And we only play the 1 Ecclesia now because that we have Nadir at 3, so we can always reoccur it from the graveyard. We would play more Ecclesia if we were playing the Trap. However, we don't play the Trap because it's very slow. And the fact that it locks you out of the extra deck for the next turn really shuts down your grind game. So I just don't feel as though it's worth it. So we just play the 1 Ecclesia because our search targets are Fleur and Maximus. Whether we want to search for a Winder, like basically assess Winder, or we want a monster negate. Normally you're going through all 3 in the 1 turn. And I'll show you in some combo videos how we do that. And then we play the 1 Schism to facilitate the Winder plays. So that's the Dogmatika lineup now. Very concise. We'll go into the Branded lineup. We're playing the 3 Branded Fusion and the 1 Fallen of Albaz. Where we only basically want to resolve Branded Fusion once to get into Mirror Jade. We're not really grinding with the Branded engine. It's basically just there to increase the ceiling. We were testing out with 2 Fallen of Albaz because there are other targets in the extra deck that you can make. However, basically we just want to get Mirror Jade on board and we have the rest of our engines to go with. So it's just this to turbo out Mirror Jade. Then we have, shout out to the Banlist again, 3 Fusion Destiny. In a Fusion deck, it's actually insane because the Branded Fusion locks you into fusions and Fusion Destiny summons you a fusion, which is DPE. So we are playing the Fusion Destiny package. DPE is just really good for the grind game. And the draw 2 that Celestial gets you, you basically draw into so much power cards in this deck, it's actually just cracked. So we are playing the DPE package. And just to generalize, basically Ash could hurt so many of these power spells. They could Ash the Fusion Destiny, Ash the Branded Fusion, Ash the Nadir, and even Ash the Meltdown. So basically your opponent has to choose what to Ash, and then you just have free reign of everything else. However, if they do Ash you, do have the 1 of Chord Buy. The 1 of Chord Buy just against any of the hand traps, really, Droll, anything. That's just the 1 of that's always going to be a 1 of. We are playing the 3 copies of Prosperity. This is just to maximize consistency in the deck. Because if you open the Invoked and the Branded, but you want to gain access to Fusion Destiny or you want to gain access to your Dogmatika stuff, you can Prosperity. You only banish for 3. More often than not, you're just going to see one of your engines within 3 cards. And the extra deck is kind of tight, so you can't afford to banish for 6. I will show you what 3 that we banish for, just so it's easy. But yeah, we do play the Prosperity because it helps us increase our ceiling. Our hand traps, we are playing 3 copies of Nibiru. We decided to move Nib into the main because Sprite did get hit in the ban list. Ronin is a big hit for them. However, they do still play into Gigantic, which does lock you out of Nib. However, T-Element's such a feared deck right now. and they just lose to Nib because they don't put up a negate. So we are deciding to main the Nib just because T-Element is the best deck. However, if you plan against the deck, you have a much easier matchup. Then we are playing 3 copies of Imperm, having the negates really good against any deck really, and drawing a combination of both of these outs basically 90% of end boards, because your Nib, they'll change, say, their Fleur to negate them. Then you can change your Imperm and you just destroy their whole board. So we are playing these, and our spicy tech, you could say, is we are maining 3 Droll and Lockbirds. I think Droll and Lockbird in the main this format is the go, because if you look at the ban list, like decks that have just got more power have been Drytron, which just straight up lose to Droll. We're getting Bisted Dragonlink coming up, and we all know Dragonlink just loses to Droll. And even the tier elements that are all playing the danger packages, which all draw, you know, get hurt significantly by Droll. So we are playing Droll as our spicy hand trap. We're just playing the 9. I don't know, I feel as though just your engines alone are really good at breaking boards as well, but having these, I just wanted to play high impact hand traps. And Imperm's like a very good 6th card to draw as well. And our last 2 cards are 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, aka no Mystic Mine, please. Do not activate that card on us. Basically, we want to be prepared for Mystic Mine. If you're not prepared for Mystic Mine, you're just going to complain about your opponent Mystic Mining you. So we do want to have the outs. Now, we don't play the Harpies because, in the main at least, because we'd rather have this going first, because we can actually set it and maybe have a pseudo interaction in our opponent's turn, whether they're on the adventure stuff, hit the Fateful, whether they try to set something during their end phase, you can banish it. It's just better than Harpies, because Harpies going first is just a dead card till turn 3. So we are playing the 2 Cosmics. It helps you out any Floodgates as well going second, because there are a lot of decks out there that just main Floodgates like Rivalry and TC Boo. So that's going to round out the deck. I do think that you guys should be playing it out to Mystic Mine. I do think you should respect it. So that's why we're deciding to main the 2 Cosmics, which is a bit of a techie choice. Now we'll go into the extra deck. Now we are playing the Almirage and the Secure Gardener. For the hands that you don't open Branded Fusion, you aren't locked into Fusion monsters, so you still go for the standard route. We're playing our Invoked lineup. We're playing 2 Macabre. We're playing the 1 Agoides, and we're playing the 1 Ragin. Now, the reason we're playing Ragin is for Flunder specifically. This basically just destroys their deck. Also, we main deck Droll and Lockbird, which is a wind, so we can actually inherently summon it. And having a Book of Moon each turn is actually very, very helpful. And you have Alistair to increase the attack and defense by 1,000 if your opponent tries to beat over. So that's the Invoked monsters that we play. Now we'll go into, well, obviously DPE. DPE itself is a standalone, reoccurring monstrosity to deal with. We are going into the branded lineup now. Obviously, we're playing the Mirror Jade. We're playing the Albion. So if you have Meltdown on board and you branded Fusion to Albion, your Albion's always resolving to a Mirror Jade because your opponent can't respond to the on-summon effects of Fusions. That's what I was telling you guys earlier. So a lot of people don't know those interactions. You just need to know them. We are playing the 1 Lubellion. Lubellion's only for the hands that we open Branded Fusion and Invocation with no way of getting to Alistar, because we Branded Fusion send the Alistar and the Fallen of Albath to summon the Lubellion. And that makes Alistar Engrave, which makes our Invocation live in hand. Then we also play the Albalenitus. We're dumping it off Mirror Jade or even off Nadir sometimes, because it helps us search Fusion Destiny in the end phase, or it can search us a Branded Fusion. However, the fact that it can search either one, I feel as though it's worth a spot. And in case we ever are up against dragons, it's just very clutch. We're playing the 1 Titaniclad, the Ash Dragon. This is more for facilitating Winder and works very well with our Dogmatika package. However, we can also summon this card with the deck. You send your Fleur, you send your Albaz, you summon your Titaniclad, it becomes a really big beater. So there's not many decks that actually summon this card, however we can. And it works very well in conjunction with our Dogmatika cards already. So that's that. And we are playing the Winder, obviously, and the Abcalone to search the Schism. Just the Winder package, Winder wins games. It has the word win in its name. It's just, you have to play it. I wouldn't max out. I want to play 2. The 1's usually enough. And the last card is our Entus. Entus is usually sent off Nadir, helps us out problem cards like Skill Drain, helps us out any floodgates that we might be up against. It's just the one-off Entus. It is a fusion, it is a light, it comes up in the grind game. So that's going to round out the extra deck. Now let's go into the side deck. So for the side deck, our board breakers are 3 copies of Evenly Matched. This against tier elements, you know, which obviously don't put up a negate, really hurts them. They don't go to the graveyard, they don't get destroyed by card effects, they don't trigger their effects, they get banished. So we play the 3 copies of Evenly. We are playing the 3 copies of Lightning Storm. Good against any back row decks like Runic. Basically, even helps us out any Mystic Mind decks, that's why I side them in. And we also play the 1 Duster in the side. I gave you guys the reasoning why we don't main it. Basically, it's the same purpose against any back row decks. Now we're playing 3 copies of Droplet. Droplet in the side because going first, it's pretty terrible. But going second, it can really help you break boards, especially in conjunction with Evenly or Lightning Storm, by activating one or the other and then chaining Droplets in response if they have a negate. Really helps out boards. And now we're playing 2 copies of DD Crow. We don't main DD Crow because we don't have the space. Like, this would be, you know, 2 DD Crows instead of 2 Cosmics. However, I feel as though we should respect mine a lot more. And we already have a bunch of response against T elements. A lot of cards in the format that are reliant on the graveyard, whether it's Strikers, whether it's, you know, Ray, whether it's Eldritch, you know, Golden Lord, or just any of the T elements monsters, even whatever Splight. Wow, what a mind blank right now. The Splight Link 2, whatever they want to summon back, you can just DD Crow it. So that really also just really hurts their boards. And our last card, this could be anything. However, we don't have an answer for time. So strictly for the time purposes, we're playing Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. Basically, if you're going into game 3, a lot of people are wondering, you know, you have like 6-7 minutes left on the clock. You side in these 3, hope to draw it, and then chain it to like a Splight starter or anything that will summon. Always chain it to something that's summoning if you can, because you don't want to just activate it, just shotgun it, and then your opponent read it, and then say, oh, I won't summon any monsters, you take half damage and lose. So be very careful when activating this card. Nothing more to be said, it's just an instant for time. And that's going to round out the side deck. So I think that this deck in general is just really, really good. I think it is very consistent. I feel as though most of the time you're just opening up cracked hands. And I might do another video just on combos, test hands to really show players that if you build this deck, what kind of hands you can do, what kind of decisions I'd make. But yeah, guys, that's the Invoked Dogmatika branded DPE deck profile. This has been Steven from Top Deck. And if you have anything you want to let us know, put it down in the comments. We usually respond to everything. And yeah, thanks for watching the deck profile, guys. Peace.